Hello, you beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of Soulful Sips and Spills, the space where we brew up honest, heart-led conversations and spill all the juicy, unfiltered truths that help us heal, grow, and remember who the fuck we are beneath the noise. This is a space for healing, growing, and being wildly human. We're your hosts, Megan Billy and Joe Morris, Master Intuitive Psychology Coaches.
Hi everyone, I'm so excited for this episode today. Today it feels like we're going to have a sacred conversation, one that so many of us need but don't always necessarily have the words or space for. In this episode, we're exploring the silent ache that so many women carry, burnout. That feeling of being all the things to all people, stretched far too thin and giving until there is nothing left. Maybe you've experienced it yourself and have shuddered at the very mention of the word burnout. Maybe you're there right now. If that's the case, please know you're not alone. We're right here with you.
This is not just a story of struggle, it's a story of resilience, of reclamation, and of remembering that there is a way back to yourself. Today we are diving into something that could literally change the way you live your life. We are joined by the incredible Sarah Grimshaw from Little Greenbird Coaching, a passionate master intuitive psychology coach and Reiki healer who's here to share her transformational journey, trudging her way from the depths of total depletion to how she dug her way out of that hole and boldly transmuted her pain into power.
This conversation is for anyone who's ever felt like they're holding it all together on the outside while crumbling on the inside. It's for the women on the edge, the ones who are exhausted, questioning, or just aching for something gentler and more real.
So if that's you or someone you love, we invite you to pause, grab your cacao, your tea, whatever your nervous system is craving right now. Take a nice deep cleansing breath in through the nose and just letting it all go with a sigh. You don't have to keep pushing. You don't have to prove. This is your permission slip to feel and be. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. We are joined by the incredible Sarah Grimshaw from Little Greenbird Coaching, a passionate master intuitive psychology coach and Reiki healer who's here to share her transformational journey, trudging her way from the depths of total depletion to how she dug her way out of that hole and boldly transmuted her pain into power. We are so excited to have you today, Sarah.
Thank you. What an introduction. Wow. Got a lot to live up to there, Megan.
No, my darling, it's all true. It's all true. But we're super, super excited to have you here today. And almost to sort of like break the ice, my fiercely fabulous co-host Joanna has our Soulful Sips questions for you. So I hope you're ready for those.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
If your soul had a drink order, what would it be?
Ooh, I think I'd opt for something with a little bit of fizz, perhaps gin and elderflower tonic. I think I would go.
Bougie.
Yeah,
Nice.
I went for it.
Yeah, I'm going for it.
I'm just going for gin, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. Love a good gin.
And the elderflower, that threw me. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Sarah.
Yeah, just a nice little twist.
Yeah. What's a guilty pleasure that actually turned out to be your medicine?
Ooh, a guilty pleasure. The thing that's coming to mind is when I used to go, well, I still do yoga. When I first started going to yoga, and then at the end there was the Shavasana meditation, and I had two really young children at home, and I was like, what, we get to lie here for 10 minutes? Oh my gosh, this is amazing. And just that little bit of time at the end was just so important to me. And actually that's formed the basis of my meditation practice now.
Wow.
So yeah, just that moment of release at the end of my yoga was unexpected when I first started, but just so necessary. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that, just the way you were like, I've got 2 young kids at home. Like, I'm going to stay right here.
This is
It's such a
amazing.
good feeling. Yeah, I can completely relate. When my little girl was very young, I think she'd been a couple of months, I used to go to yin yoga, it was, and we used to do the yoga nidra at the end, and it was
Oh, yeah.
just, magical, magical. I can really relate to that. What is the most unhinged thing that you have done in the name of manifestation?
Ooh, there have probably been many, many little habits and rituals and things I do or have done. Oh, when I was at high school, so going back a bit, me and my best friend really liked the popular boy in school. So we decided we were going to write his name on the soles of our shoes so that he would ask us out. And it worked. He doesn't know it was witchcraft yet.
This is so funny. For evil. It was giving me like Toy Story vibes there with Andy on the boot.
Yeah.
True. True. Did he ask both of you out or just one of you?
No, eventually both. Yeah. Maybe we should have written different boys' names on. Yeah.
Don't know your own power.
I know. I know.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for sharing, Sarah. Have the floor. Let us know a little bit about what you're up to and what's brought you here, to this point in time today.
Okay, wow, big question. So yeah, just very recently qualified with IPA as a Master Intuitive Psychology Coach, which is phenomenal. It's been crazy and epic and immersive and transformational 6 months. It has been far more in depth than I ever imagined it was going to be. When I first signed up, I was like, yeah, I fancy this, that'll be great. And then a couple of weeks into it, I was like, oh wow, this is exactly what I needed. The depth of study, the amount of work that goes into it, the structure of the course. Yeah, it was phenomenal. So yeah, really proud. I'm proud of you two as well.
Oh,
Going
yeah,
on
I'm
that
so
journey.
proud. I'm so proud of all of us. I'm really chuffed. I think, as you say, it wasn't just a few tick boxes. It wasn't just a standard. I know we were talking about it recently, Sarah, where we loved doing a little course and getting a certificate. This was so much more than that. It was very in depth. And yeah, it's just been amazing to see everybody's transformational journeys within their own lives. But I just wondered, was IPA where you started? Like, is that where your journey began with coaching or personal development, or did it begin sometime before?
Actually, I've always had an interest in personal development, but my main career has been as a teacher. So I was a teacher for a long time, 16 years, and I was an early years teacher. So I worked with all the little ones at the beginning of their school journey and integrated the families into school, led a team of teacher assistants and support and all sorts of different people. And yes, I did that for a long time, whilst raising a young family as well. And that was kind of the beginning of the end. That sounds terrible, doesn't it? But that was the end of my teaching career was the start of my real personal development journey, I think. Yeah, I experienced burnout at the end of my teaching career. And in fact, I experienced it twice. And looking back, I can see now the reasons for that. Definitely, I experience validation from achievement. That's something that I've identified. And I was kind of moving through the ranks with teaching, taking on more responsibilities, working every hour, working through the weekends. It's very intense career choice. Yeah, it kind of really impacted me. Looking back now, I can see that there were the different elements where I've had a tendency to people please. I always want to achieve more. I didn't have firm boundaries in place. So I was just working and working and working and not taking any time to reflect or pause or relax. Yeah, it came to a grinding halt.
So you were obviously very as you say, very, very busy within your role within education and early years, as well as being a mum to two young children. That is quite intense to then have this grind and this go, go, go. Did you ever feel like there was a time where enough was enough, or was it just a case of almost accepting like, oh, this is just, you know, my life. This is my career. That's how it is.
It was just how it is. I come from working class family where my parents have both worked very hard for what we have, and that's kind of been my model for life. And people do have young families and they do work hard, but I was in a position where I was just going and going and going. And looking back now, I can't believe that I didn't take time to step out of that and look at the habits that I was forming that were quite destructive, really. So yeah, there were a few different things that happened. I was having some health issues. My body was almost screaming to me, Sarah, this is too much. Stop, you know. I ended up with a situation whereby it had been a long day at school. The children were with me at school, so I was in my classroom until around 6, half 6, meetings after school, and then I possibly hadn't eaten. I didn't have a break. Straight to the supermarket with the children, the trolley, and then home, and then food and unpacking and dogs and blah, 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 blah. There's, you know, lots of things going on. And then at story time with my daughter, when I finally sat down, I realised that I just couldn't feel not one side of my face. And my shoulder, my neck, I couldn't, just lost sensation completely, which was really scary. And we phoned an ambulance, and there wasn't a conclusion to what happened. Eventually, the feeling came back after maybe 24 hours. There was no reason for it as far as we could see, but I do put that down to the stress, just the amount of tension that was holding in my body. The amount of cortisol that must have been firing around my body just was not healthy. And at one point, I had a heart monitor fitted because I was having lots of heart palpitations. My heart was spiking up to 200. And again, inconclusive. There isn't anything, you know, touch wood, wrong with my heart, but the amount of pressure I was putting on myself and allowing myself to feel was having this massive impact. And then towards the end of my teaching career, I was experiencing some really huge panic attacks where, you know, just not nice situation to be in. And my body took over, and it just said, no more. That's it. I'm done. And my mind followed. Yeah.
Do you think there were some signs before it got to that point, Sarah? Could you now think back about some signs that maybe you missed at the time that were less severe than the ones that you've obviously experienced towards the end when you realised, oh, this is obviously burnout and the stress that was on your body?
Yeah, and I just thought it was normal. So I would be exhausted, as many teachers, teaching staff are in schools, and I would be pulling myself. It's a bit of a pattern that you just are refreshed within the half-term break, and then you go back into that system, and it's exhausting, and you're just dragging yourself towards the end. And then when you're in the holidays, the first few days you are just wiped out, susceptible to lots of coughs and colds, but you know, that's the environment as well, but a depleted immune system for sure.
I can really resonate with that, Sarah, having worked within education in early years. It's almost that culture, isn't it? That if you work in that setting, it's, oh, but you will just have a weak immune system because all the kids have got coughs and colds. Oh no, like we're all just really tired here because we all overwork till we're practically in the ground. Like, oh no, it's just like, it's just expected. It's just the culture, isn't it? And it's sometimes not until you maybe speak to people outside or you start opening your awareness to other things that there's more to life than feeling that way. I don't know if that kind of resonates with you, but that's kind of how I explored moving away from burnout within that, because everybody was so set on like, well, no, this is just it. This is how we do it. You're always going to be exhausted. That's life. And I was like, is it? Oh, do we have to be? Like,
And I just think there's an enormous amount of passion involved in teaching, in education, in the care sector. People don't work there for the pay.
Mm-hmm.
You're there because you really care and you want to make a difference and you feel needed and you are needed. And so I do feel that when I was in work, I just switched off to the exhaustion or what my body was telling me, because you're in the zone and it's such a busy time. You're making such a difference and you're doing so much good. It's kind of the self is put to one side
Mm-hmm.
almost. It was a feeling of that I was dragging my children along with me as well. And I'd wanted to be a good role model for my children, as my parents were for me, in this environment where you work hard and you earn a living and you do the best for your family. But then there's the human side to that as well. I came to the point where I thought, I didn't think I had the burnout, and I had conversations with my children around the fact that I'm tired and I'm just a human being and I need to step away from this. And that's okay for me to feel like that. I don't have to stay there forever if it doesn't suit me and my family anymore.
I love that. I really love that. Just because actually that's such a courageously brave thing to do when that's what's expected of you. And as you say, being a mum, and I'm sure Joanna, as another mother, you will agree that pressure you guys have to be it all, like to do all the things, to be all the people. And as you say, you obviously have such passion and such a caring nature. Like you do want to make that change. You've obviously connected with these children and you have a relationship with them and their families as well as your own. And you're just trying to be all the people so that it helps them and you can see that it's great. But at the same time, I think it's so courageous to acknowledge that you don't have to be all the things and you don't have to be all the places, and you can say, no, I've actually changed my mind. This isn't for me. It doesn't align anymore. It doesn't feel good. Yeah, I love that you said, no, I'm human.
Yeah, it was huge for me because I'd become buried under different personas or labels, and that was who I was. And that was massive to then break away from that and to think, well, who am I? This has been me for a long, long time. This has been the life that I've lived for a long, long time. And I need to just redefine who I am and what brings me joy and what I want my life to look like. I was fortunate that I was able to come away from that. I did try to go back into teaching. The people that I worked with were amazing. They tried to facilitate my return to school with different roles or support. But I mean, I mentioned to Megan previously, it was like a huge merry-go-round, a carousel that was spinning, and I'd come off it and I just couldn't get back on. I just couldn't regain that momentum to grab hold and get back on that merry-go-round. I just couldn't do it.
Was it experiencing obviously life without being in that environment? As you mentioned, you'd had different personas and, you know, your life had been one way for such a long time that actually stepping away from that, it was almost like, well, who the fuck is Sarah? Like, what do I like? And you had to go on this quest almost to rediscover yourself, to redefine what it was that lit you up. Would you say that it was just destined to go that way, as in?
I think my body was speaking to me on several different levels, and enough was enough. I feel I would have made myself really poorly if I'd have stayed there. I then had to build myself up again. I was really starting from scratch. I had reached a point whereby my head felt like mud. It felt like I was just to string a sentence together, to make a choice, to make a decision. My partner would ask me a question and I would say, I don't know. I just don't know. I wasn't able to make, I didn't know what I wanted to wear. I didn't know what I wanted for my lunch. I just reduced myself to a place that I wasn't capable of that. And I just needed to rebuild myself. I created a little bit of a timetable for myself, which was as basic as taking a shower, eating something nourishing
Mm.
and then building on that every day. It was as basic as that. I stripped it right back to its core. I needed to walk my dog. They needed a walk, so I would dress and I'd go for a short walk. And actually, I would choose to go when it was dark or when it was raining so that I didn't need to bump into anybody because I just didn't have the confidence to have that conversation at that time.
And to put those masks on again, I guess, of like, I'm fine, how are you? Just on my walk, I'm crumbling, go away.
I just would not have been capable of that. And I did bump into somebody once and it resulted in me walking away and I just had the biggest panic attack. A difficult time, but a time of rebirth. I started little by little to expand upon that timetable that I'd made for myself, and I wanted to find what brought me joy. So after I'd walked the dogs, I realised I feel a little bit better. Being outside and having that activity, that exercise and moving my body has made me feel better. So I incorporated that on a daily basis. I started to read again. I wanted to treat myself as I would one of my own children when they were poorly, just to wrap myself up in that care and that love that I'd neglected for so long and to make myself feel better. And that was my aim, to find the little pieces of joy and just to follow them and to expand on them as much as I could.
I love that, Sarah, that you looked for the pieces of joy and that you had that awareness that that's what you needed at that time. Did you come up with this yourself, like to strip it right back down to doing the simple things and then building on that? Or did you reach out to get some external help? I'm just thinking for anybody listening that might be experiencing the same sort of thing, what sort of avenues they could go down.
I did reach out to the GP. I needed time off work anyway, so I had to go down that avenue to go and speak to the GP. It was very emotional. I hadn't had those conversations. I hadn't made anyone aware of how I was feeling until it was too late almost. So I went to the GP and she did suggest spending time outside and exercise. I think she also mentioned antidepressants, and I have no issue with medication or antidepressants or anything like that. But at that time, I just didn't think that was what I needed. But I just had to listen to my body. Stripping it right back was just what happened because I was burnt out. Instinctively, I just felt like I needed to move. I needed to do something. I needed to rediscover who I was before all of this. It was a really instinctive process, but a very, very gradual process, taking small steps, writing down at the beginning of the day just 2 or 3 things that I wanted to achieve that day, which were as simple as spending 5 minutes outside, showering, eating something, right at the very beginning. As time went on, I know I've got a lot of validation attached to achievement, which was why this burnout happened as well. So I was wanting to achieve more and it was just becoming unrealistic. So I decided to take a few little online courses, which were free or for a very, very small payment. And then I like to learn, and when I was learning, I was finding that was joyful. And then I got a certificate at the end. I was so pleased. And it wasn't anything major, but I just thought, oh my gosh, that's really lit me up. That's made me feel really good. I'm going to do more of that. And then I decided to refer myself for CBT. So you can, in England, self-refer for CBT. And that was an online course as well. And I completed that and had a mentor. And then they put me through some more counselling, which was also beneficial. So it was a really slow and gradual process.
I just had a question, Sarah, when you mentioned about the CBT. There's no issue with medication and things. It just obviously wasn't right for you at that time. I have both been on medication and not, and chosen not to, as well as different forms of therapy. And I was just wondering, did you find with CBT or life skills or anything that you were learning at that time, did you found that they helped, or did you find it only went so far? What was your experience of those CBT, etc.?
It did help. it helped that I was doing something proactive. Again, I felt like I was achieving something. It was accessible to me. So it was online. I didn't have to see anybody. I didn't need to be out of my comfort zone. I progressed through that to one-to-one counselling, which was also helpful in that I was able to just verbalize what I was feeling and speak to somebody that wasn't within my circle, within my family. One thing that it did help with was the need to slow down. It didn't go into too much detail with it, but that was something that I then went on to think about, and that sense of rest and relaxation and intentionally taking time to stop. Yeah. And I think during the 80s and 90s, we've been taught that busy is best and just to keep going. And my role models just never stop, that's not been something that's been modeled to me, to sit down and eat something and have a chat or meet. And that's been something that I've needed to incorporate into my life. Another thing that happened along the way of this process was that I began to socialise more, and a friend came over to stay with us from Australia, from overseas, and it was sat in the kitchen, and I'd made him a drink, and I was up and down, I was washing up, I was tidying up, I was sorting the door, and he just said, "Sarah, do you think you've got ADHD?" And I was like, "No. Do you think I've got ADHD?" And he was like, "Yeah, I do. I really do."
What's your face in the kitchen? Pardon? Sorry.
He just said, "You've not sat down, so just stop."
And
that really shocked me, because as a professional in education, I've referred so many children from different with different neurodiversity, and that's something that I'm well up on, and I've put strategies in place for children. I've built really good connections with those children, and now probably know why, that I was able to anticipate their needs quite well. So I went again with the NHS, and it was a long wait, maybe at that time 14, 15 months. And during that time, I was writing things down that I was finding difficult and that were occurring to me, and then it became very apparent that actually that's another factor in all of this. That
Wow.
That you did get diagnosed with.
Yeah, I did get diagnosed. Yeah, late diagnosis with ADHD.
How old were you when you got your diagnosis?
I was 44 when I got diagnosed. Yeah. So just still coming to terms with that. That's another massive shift in identity, of all those things that you were finding difficult through life. You were trying to fit into a structure that wasn't built for you, abandoning the creative side of my character to fit in. And, it just wasn't working. It just wasn't working for me. I felt constrained.
Does that impact you now, Sarah? As in, does that make you perhaps feel sad that you didn't have an earlier diagnosis and things might have been potentially quite different for you if you'd known about your ADHD?
Yeah, initially, definitely. It was something that I couldn't think about too much all at once, because I thought it would overwhelm me. The possibilities and the potential. But I've come to terms with that. The journey is the journey, and I wouldn't be the person I am now without having been through those difficulties, without having faced those challenges, and there have been real challenges, but it's made me who I am. But yes, definitely there was a sadness and a grief almost attached to that when I was first diagnosed. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I can imagine, actually, because when you mentioned before about you've been in a structure that was built a certain way that just didn't fit you, to then sort of later receive a diagnosis. And as you say, it almost, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it almost feels like a bit of a kick in the teeth, because as you said, you've worked with children for over 16 years. You've worked your way up, you've dealt with children each and every day and created care plans for them, helped move them on. And then obviously for yourself, it's almost like hey, where was I for me? It was just really reassuring to see that even though there was that grief there and there has been this kick, it's almost been like that's been your journey in this structure.
Yeah, there's got to be that level of acceptance, else, you would just continue with that sadness. Obviously, that's there, and things could have been different, but that goes for everybody, doesn't it? There's, the path that we take, could have been a different path. Yeah, it's just made me more resolute in not abandoning myself any further to embrace that creativity. I've been told so many times, why are you doing it that way? Oh, that doesn't make sense. Or that's not how it is. And you need to get a proper 9 to 5 and da-da. And I'm just going to be more aligned with me as I am now and not try to fit into that system. I think that's been the biggest takeaway.
I love
I
that.
think that's such great awareness, Sarah, that's such a good learning that's come out of that.
Yeah, for sure. And just like I'm not going to fit into anybody else's box or system anymore. Your way might work for you, but actually it's not for me, regardless of diagnosis. But like you said, you've obviously had that intuitive nudge within yourself that there's a different way, there's a new way, there's not just one way to do things. That's amazing.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. There's not just one way. And we're in this system that you feel that that's it, you're yeah, just in the flow of it. And it doesn't have to be like that. And initially, when I did have my diagnosis, I didn't tell people and I didn't speak to people about it. And I just want to raise awareness. There are so many people that are being diagnosed. And I do think we'll come to find in years to come that so many people have a brain that works in a different way. It's not just one normal way of thinking. We're all so diverse. So why not speak out about it and raise that awareness? And that's kind of where I am at the moment. I'm not hiding that. If people want advice or guidance, then I've been there, and if I can support them, then I will. There's no point hiding. We get this one life, and if the past few years have taught me anything, then it's just to be yourself.
Oh, I love
100%.
that.
Don't shrink to fit in, right? Just be yourself, and that's the best way to be, for sure.
Yeah, I really, really love that, Sarah. Just be yourself. Just plain and simple. That's be yourself, no one else. Yeah, absolutely love that.
And ultimately, just thinking about it, that's actually the role model that I want to be for my children. If I look back 5 years ago, that's not who I need them to see. This is the person who, with all my flaws and all my weirdness and craziness and changing my mind,
Whimsy and wonder.
flinging my labels to one side and going on this path and that and changing my mind. Well, that's who I am. So that's who I need them to see.
I love that. And I love that you're trying to challenge, to raise awareness that we are all different and to be yourself, because it was always probably, the ADHD didn't occur in my day. We didn't have ADHD. Oh, you did, Granny, with your 94 plates in the cupboard and China dolls that no one else can touch. I see you. Yeah. Like there was those around. We just didn't know. We didn't have the knowledge, right? So it's like now that we've got this knowledge, why should we hide it? Why should we shame that you're different, in a system that was probably created by a guy that's dead 400 years? Yeah, why? There is a new way of thinking. And just, I love that you're raising awareness about it all. And of course, I will make sure I put all your details in the show notes. So if anyone does want to reach out to Sarah in regards to burnout or ADHD, as well as intuitive psychology coaching, I will put all the links there. But yeah, thank you so much for being so open and honest about your story, where you've been and everything in between.
Yeah, because I just feel like the more open and honest you can be, the more authentically you can live your life. And I have found that since I'm just being me and just being myself, that things and opportunities are arising for me that really fit with what I want my life to look like. And I'm not having to force it. I'm not having to push it. The right people are coming into my life, and it feels so much easier, and it feels so much lighter and more fun. And it's just all happening without that push, I think, now, which is lovely.
That's so
Amazing.
beautiful, especially
Mhm.
like when you said at first it was for everyone else, and then
Yeah.
now you're doing what's for you, and you're even happier than what you maybe thought before was like correct. And you're like, it's just like, no, actually, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Everything's just falling into
Yeah,
place.
I
How
love
good.
that.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about Little Greenbird Coaching and what you get up to, what you do, and how you can help people?
Sure, yeah. So my new venture of Little Greenbird Coaching as a master intuitive psychology coach, I am currently reaching out to different community groups. I'm working with the community at the moment with groups of women in the community. So I wanted to give back in that respect as a priority. I'm also working with neurodivergent women, either newly diagnosed or suspecting that they have ADHD or some form of neurodivergence. So I'm doing lots of coaching there as well. And I'm also wanting to reach out to the corporate sector. So before I was a teacher, I also worked in construction. I worked in the corporate sector, and I've got lots of friends who are in that field in senior leadership or CEOs, and it's lonely. You know, that level of elevation really removes you from the team. You are then
Mm,
in a different, on a different, you can feel like you're on a different level. And it does create this sense of isolation. And I do think with the advent of AI as well, teams are going to become more fragmented. It's
hmm
inevitable. And I'm just really being drawn to working with those senior leaders to coach them through that, to coach them through having a family
mm,
and being a leader to preempt burnout. Think back to myself 5 years ago, basically me, working in that position where it can be lonely. That's something that an avenue I really want to go down as well. So yeah,
I love that, showing them a new way. It doesn't
yeah.
have to be that way.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
I'm bringing my authentic self to the corporate sector as well, going back into that arena, but without the masks.
Mm,
Just bringing that sense of compassion into a really structured and often artificial world.
hmm I love that. Without the mask, just bringing
Yeah,
your authentic essence to it and no longer, because I'm sure there's probably been times just humanly, naturally, you feel maybe self-doubt creep in of, oh, am I going back into this space? And, it can be a bit tricky when you're molding and shifting, right? And trying new things. But it's amazing that you've had this complete shift of, I'm no longer putting the masks on when I
yeah,
walk into this corporate space. I'm bringing me to show you how to be more you. It's like I'm giving you a big permission slip here to let go that these masks and this fragmented kind of corporate space. That's amazing.
yeah. And that is the power of vulnerability, isn't it? That as soon as you express your own
Mm,
vulnerability, it just gives other people that permission to do the same. Because people in corporate are still human beings, but
yeah.
there are very often people going into work, doing their job in the city or wherever, leaving, going home, having never had a connection with anybody during the day, not having
hmm
had a real conversation. And I just find that that's
mm,
just sad. It
mm.
doesn't have to be that way.
No, I
And
love that.
another thing that really occurs to me is self-care as a buzzword within education, within the corporate sector, and it's a box that needs to be ticked, and we go on a self-care course, and then we come back into work, and there's just no time to implement anything. It's a standalone session that
hmm
isn't integrated into the
hmm
fabric of the working day, and that needs to change.
It does need to change. You're so right. And it's treated as a tick box or a have a herbal tea, have a bit of self-care, take a bubble bath, but it's something so much deeper than, painting your nails to feel good, isn't it? It's more than a buzzword. It's more than some box you have to tick. It could change your life if you look after and nurture yourself, just like Sarah did in the depletion of burnout, like a child. You really do have to connect and soften and nurture yourself because you know, you guys are mothers. Would you ever speak to your children when they did something wrong? I know we all lose our shit, just saying. I know we all lose our shit, but you wouldn't speak to your child and be like, oh, you silly girl, you've done that. Oh, for fuck's sake, why would you do that? You know, but we speak to ourselves like that. You'd normally, you know, you'd get your little Madison and you'd be like, oh, darling, it's okay. Like, come give mummy a big hug. We'll work it out together. Like, we're so much nicer and kinder. And I think it's just amazing that you're making that change for people, that we don't have to do it all the same way. And if their way's not working, that's okay. But your way might be different, and it's okay to nurture yourself in that way.
Yeah, and I think the IPA coaching, the intuitive psychology coaching, is perfect for that because it allows you to look within and to find where the busyness is, to find where the weight is, to find what's holding you back, and to accept, to release, and to create that space within, to create that sense of confidence, to put those boundaries into place and to say, actually, I'm still a nice person, even if I say no. It's just not something that I can do at this time. I will get to it, but that's where my boundary is. And I'm going to be a better person if I know myself and I adhere to those boundaries.
Yes. Yes, I love that, because it just gets rid of the noise, doesn't it? Like the power you have within inside of yourself, you do have all the answers. And everybody has the answers, right? It's not like I've got a cheat code and you don't. Like everyone can be tuned in. It just depends if you're tuned in or tuned out, right? If you're not open to change and you're not open to trying new things and making it work in a different way, then of course.
And how many times do we ignore that intuition? As I've said, I've done that countless times, and my body, my soul was speaking to me, and I pushed it to one side because I was letting my choices be made by a system or by other people or by the echoes of other people's opinions that were still resonating within me, that were speaking to me louder than my own voice and my own heart. And we need to strip that back, let go of past relationships, just let it go, and then let the voice that we hear loudest be our own.
Oh, Sarah. God, I could listen to you all day. Like I've been trying to shut the fuck up because I've been just excited or just want to ask you questions, because you just have so much knowledge and realness within you. And that's why we've been so excited for this episode today, because that's what we're all about. We don't want this bullshit approach or this, like, I don't know the word for it. It's not cookie cutter. Just what everyone else is doing. Like, we want the honesty. We want to step into the things that maybe people are too afraid. Yeah, like we want to step into the things that aren't talked about or shared enough about, because so many people suffer in silence, whether that has been in a world that doesn't feel right for them, whether that's due to mental health struggles, learning difficulties, family extent. Like, we've all got stuff going on, right? And it's just amazing to know that our listeners, as well as us, can just benefit from your value. So thank you for your honesty and your vulnerability today, because you just don't know how many people's lives you've changed. That's my opinion. Like, that's why we do this, because we want to create a change, and you've been a part of that. So thank you very much.
Thank you both. That means the world to me. It's taken me a long time to get here, but yeah, if I can help others, then that's exactly what I want to do.
Love that.
Yes. Did you have a poem to read, Sarah?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited. I've been waiting for this. How good.
I've always written. I've got so many poems from even when I was like a teenager, when I was at uni. I've always found that that's how I express myself. Specifically poems as well, which is, I don't know. why
Ah,
it just comes out like that. I always have, and I've always kind of just never done anything with them. So I decided to put it on the other day. I was like, oh gosh.
oh, I love it.
It's so
The
good though.
dread.
You know that way when you feel really passionate about something and you're like putting pen on paper, it just feels so good, doesn't it? Like I've got a friend and she likes to write poems, and when she's like really passionate about sometimes she like comes out with like rhyming words, like she's just rhyming because she's so like getting into the
So
rhythm of
weird.
it, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Like she's just going off. I'm like, oh, okay, like we're just all rhyming here, but it's just because she's like so in the moment passionate about it. Anyway, I'm so excited to hear this poem.
Oh, I love
And
that. Yeah, me
does your
too.
friend have ADHD by any chance?
Actually, don't know. I need to ask her.
Right. Yeah. Because I do that rhyming all the time. It's like, yeah, rhyming
Honestly,
attack.
Sarah, I don't mean to alarm you, but I have been thinking for quite some time about an ADHD diagnosis. And it's just since IPA, I see it more and more with signs every day. And I think something that stopped me, maybe before our conversation, was that almost ADHD was becoming a buzzword. Maybe it's wrong to describe it as a buzzword, but it was almost an excuse for anything else. If a child was just misbehaving, oh, well, they're just ADHD then. Like the other things we need to put in place. And I think, say, for myself, that was also maybe an issue of why I haven't explored something further, because you've almost creeping on the sides of like, oh, I do that. Oh, I do that. But you also don't want to be another, oh, it's just this. This is the way I do things. And this is why I am the way I am. But actually, there's parts of me that have those traits or those characteristics, and actually knowing that would make life a bit easier in a system that isn't set up.
My definition or the defining characteristic of ADHD is it's exhausting, and it can be debilitating because everything is hard. You can find yourself in a situation whereby you're in debt because you can't face bills, you can't manage times, you're always late, the car's never got any petrol, you're letting people down on a massive level, being late for everything, the organizational skills are not there, and you are trying so hard, and it is exhausting. And that is the truth. And when people pussyfoot round it, I just feel like I need to be out there saying that, because it's exhausting. It's not just as you've said, like, oh, I'm a bit ADHD. No, it's fucking horrible sometimes. It's really, really hard. And the emotions associated with it, you know, and especially in the teenage years, the emotional dysregulation. There are so many kids going through eating disorders and mental health issues. Are we ticking lots of boxes here, Megan? Yeah, because that's the reality, and it's hidden.
It's just so outed right
hidden.
now.
Yeah, I've been there.
Megan's in the limelight.
That's my literal life.
They're different forms.
They say that there's different levels of severity. However, my personal opinion is there are different traumas which arise from having had ADHD, and it depends how you have been supported through those and how much you've been able to express yourself throughout those. That's my opinion only.
And for women, it was very different to boys. Men, I suppose, men are more easily diagnosed. It also presents in a much different way. Like typically or stereotypically, it would be, oh, they've got loads of energy and they can't sit down and da-da-da. And that was kind of why boys maybe got labelled with that. Whereas the girls who are actually sitting silently, really listening intently and judging the scene, anticipating what's happening next.
Hypervigilance, loss of focus, staring into space, not keeping up the conversations,
Well, shit.
There you go. Come join the gang. Come join the gang.
This is why I love having this raw conversation, and sorry, we will get onto your poem. But this has been something that I have been struggling with probably on and off for a couple of years, but not, as I say, not giving myself that diagnosis or that stereotype, whatever word you want to use here, because it just became a buzzword or an excuse or a this or a that. And I learn by the world around you, as you say, like sometimes, because we ignore our intuition, we ignore our own voice. And I think sometimes that's what the world has maybe presented to me. Whereas my intuition could be screaming so loud that like, this isn't right, or I can't do this. I shouldn't be here. This isn't the way. I don't know if you've seen The Mandalorian, but it's like, this is the way. That was me. It was just a voice. No, this is not the way. Turn round, go again. And it's just, I think it's trying to keep up in that world. And I've not maybe I've just kind of shrugged off. So like hearing your honesty of you're exhausted, like
It's
you're,
exhausting.
emotional all the time, or because to be honest, with the world that we live in, I think I've kind of maybe created the belief like, well, I'm just fucked up then. I just clearly can't manage because I work several jobs and I somehow can do X, Y, Z and la la la. So clearly I can't have ADHD. Like, oh, I've been really successful in childcare, early years as a Senko officer. Funny enough, Senko children loved me. And it's like, oh, darling. And it's just, yeah, things you've been saying, I just think are, yeah, exactly what I maybe needed to hear as well as the listeners. And I just think it's, if you've been having those thoughts that possibly you could be ADHD or anything, or you just want to talk to someone and kind of explore what that is, don't feel maybe guilt that I felt of like just being another statistic or just being another X, because like if it's showing up for you, it actually, it might be for you. We're not saying we're going to label everyone, but do you know what I mean? I just think most people like myself have gone, oh, well, I don't want to water down what that is.
I think it's a bit of a cliche, but as I've moved into my 40s, and especially on this past year, I think self-acceptance really comes from not abandoning yourself, even in the middle of all those messages, not thinking what should be and what other people say. It's just going with what I need.
Mm.
And I'm not there yet, but I think that's when you probably become truly aligned, because you don't feel like you trust yourself to advocate for yourself in the face of doubt and other messages and other people's opinions, but you're going to champion yourself.
Yes, you'll always be your champion.
Having a diagnosis is not a magic wand. I am on medication at the minute, and it's not. That's also not a quick fix, because that one didn't suit and that one was weird and that was too much and I didn't sleep and da da da. So it depends what you want from that. But it was a relief to have a diagnosis and think,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, like, oh, that explains quite a lot. Thank you.
Everything's been so flipping hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, because it just, I think that's probably a journey that people do struggle with, especially later on in life. I know that I'm only 28, but it's still 28 years of my life that I've kind of been in a world that it's hard to make sense of, isn't it? And so much has changed over time that you're just trying to keep up with it all. So no, I do really appreciate the honesty. A diagnosis or, whatever that is for you, yeah, it might not be the end game, but at least it's all a part of figuring yourself out, isn't it? Yeah. But yeah, sorry. We'll get
Megan,
back to your poem.
those teenage years, wow. That's all I'll say. Wow. It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, so sorry. We'll get to your poem now.
Yeah, so I have always written ever since I've been probably a teenager, and I think that's just a way that I express myself, or I have done throughout my life. So yeah, so a poem that I wrote a few months ago, possibly while I was on the intuitive psychology journey, was called Lost Voice. I'll do that one for you today. Lost Voice by me. She conjures a smile and brings out the wit, adjusts the mask to make sure she fits in with the people, the friends, the crowd, with lights too bright and sounds too loud. But smiling all the time, she tries to follow the chat, though her thoughts run wild. A glance, a flicker, a word, a sigh, just the smallest hint of how dissatisfied she has become with her life, her body, her mind. She has good intentions, just never the time. How nothing is wrong, but nothing is right. And softly she cries in her pillow at night. This girl's not a stranger. She's you, and she's me. She's the woman in the cafe sipping her tea. She's the lady you passed in the bakery aisle, the one with sad eyes but a beautiful smile. Just a person who's lost and doesn't know why. She's feeling so empty but still saying, I'm fine. Thank you.
Oh, Sarah, that was just absolutely gorgeous. Thank you so much
thank
for sharing that with us. That was honestly, truly lovely to listen to. Thank you.
Oh, thanks so much.
It was. I've got goosebumps all over. That was so beautiful, Sarah, and you've captured it so, so beautifully. I feel very honoured that you shared it with us today. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, and it's been an absolute pleasure.
You're most welcome. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I've so enjoyed listening to your story, and I can't wait to see what Little Greenbird Coaching has in store.
Yay!
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
Oh, well, that was such an interesting conversation with Sarah. I so enjoyed chatting with her there, and I really hope our listeners did too. I think she is going to help lots of people through her Little Green Bird coaching. I'm really excited for her journey ahead.
Oh my goodness, I know. It was so lovely to chat with her today. She has a fountain full of knowledge, and I cannot wait to see the ripple effect she creates. How amazing.
Yeah, and I just think she's going to have this really amazing way with people, especially because she's experienced burnout herself. She knows how it feels to be in that place. And I just feel like people that are going to her that have had burnout or experiencing it will really be able to benefit from her knowledge around neurodiverse and her ADHD diagnosis. I think she'll really be able to make a massive impact on people's lives.
Yeah, 100%. Like I say, fountain full of knowledge there with her own personal experiences, as well as like the life she's led. But yeah, she was just so honest and open with us that I do not doubt our listeners today have not only taken something from it, but actively know where to go. So yeah, amazing.
Lovely. Well, that now brings us on, Megan, to our sins of the week, Freedom Friday.
Yay! Set yourself free.
Yourself free. So excited. So I believe you have some for this week. I do indeed have a personal one.
Yeah, I would love for you to share that one with us.
Lovely. So last Saturday, my little girl, Little Miss, had a swimming birthday party for her friend's 5th birthday. We get to the swimming pool and Little Miss can swim, so I did not realise I would be required to get to the swimming pool. But anyway, we get to the counter and the lady says, "How old is she?" And I was like, "Oh, 4." And they're like, "Oh, you'll need to go in with her then, because under 5s need a supervisor." And I'm like, I didn't bring a swimsuit with me. And she's like, "Oh, anyone else could go in the pool with her?" And I'm looking around and I'm like, well, it doesn't look like it, does it? Because it's just me here. So anyway, I rush back to my house. I get my bikini on, quickly shave my legs because was not prepped. I had no idea I had to go in. Anyway, get back to the pool. Obviously, Little Miss is like, "You're taking for ages." Desperate to get in, get out the changing rooms. And I'm like, I feel like people are looking at me. And then, you know that way, so you're like, no, it's just in your head. It's not actually, nobody's looking at you. Eye contact with this woman, and as I'm walking past, she's still looking at me. And I was like, no, people are definitely looking at me. What have I done? I don't know. Anyway, obviously now I'm super self-conscious. I get over to the kiddie side where the pool party is, and the mums are there. And I'm like, just chatting away, you know, like, "Hi, how you doing?" Blah, blah, blah. Then it suddenly starts to sink in. Everybody is wearing like shorts, t-shirts, rash vests. Oh, and here I am in a bikini, but not any kind of bikini. I've picked up a thong bikini and half my arse is hanging out. So I'm now at the birthday party with my bum on show at the 5th birthday party. Kids in tow. So I said to Madison, "Listen, I'm just going to hide in the deep end. Hope nobody can see me." Then as I get out, one of the mums is like, "Like your mermaid tattoo that's halfway down my ass and up my side." And I'm like, "Thanks." Getting some dirty looks from the mums because obviously I got my bum out in front of their kids. Anyway, c'est la vie. What do you do? So just when I think it's over, I'm like, thank God this embarrassing time's over. We get to go to the, as they call it, the community room, the whānau room, which means family in Aotearoa. They have the cake and the food and whatnot.
Okay.
So anyway, get changed. And I'm like, oh, because I was in a rush, I didn't bring any undies. So I go into the family room with no undies on and sing happy 5th birthday to the birthday girl, just in there with all these kids. No undies on.
There is no judgment. There isn't. I'm not judging you for turning up in a thong bikini, but I totally forgot it was a fucking 5th birthday party. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. You're in
Yeah.
a bikini. And you were like, yeah, birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, like
no.
little boys running about, little girls, and they're nice, like they're like character swimsuits. And then here's me with my bum hanging out. I do have to say though, right? So as I'm in the deep end, I'm just sitting here like a bobbing head at this point because I was like, I cannot come out of here. So I just hid in the deep end for the whole party. And I was thinking, where are all the bikinis? So, I mean, when I went into the bikini shop, are there people in there buying bikinis?
Yeah.
Where are these people?
Probably on the
Where
beach.
are they? They might have been at the beach.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, they were. I can assure you, they were not at the kids' swimming pool. Okay, not a bikini in sight.
Oh, so I'm laughing. Can imagine you walking around. You know, Madison. Yeah, that's fine. You go there, darling. No worries. Yeah. People are looking at me. That's a bit weird. Like, you know, no. That she's definitely fucking staring. Like, she's definitely looking at me. My ass is out.
No, it was. It took me a while, and then I was like, oh my lordy, they are actually fully clad, like full on shorts, t-shirts. Like, I found it odd they were wearing swimsuits and then had shorts on top. But anyway, after I left, I had voice noted my friend that lives down the street, and I was like, oh my God, never guess what's happened to me. And she was like, it's a very New Zealand thing to go. They call it togs here.
Oh, so that's okay. See, they're the odd ones.
Well, you live and you learn, right? Just kidding. Let's be honest. I'll do that again.
You might encourage one of the other women to take her togs off.
Name of Amy sex
Take
tape.
your togs off.
Yeah, you never know. So anyway, obviously my family group chat was lit up and with silly things like, oh, Joanna, just such a calamity. And I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I give you all a laugh.
That must be a Scottish thing because my niece used to get called Calamity Caitlin because she'd be like,
Yeah, still at it.
She's still at it. 33, still at it.
She's a mum and she's still at it. Calamity Joe.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Yeah,
I love it.
Free. That's my sin.
Yeah, do you feel better getting that off your chest? Do you feel good? That you got your ass out?
I don't know if I do, to be honest. I don't know if I do. Don't know if I feel worse for sharing it with the world. And I have to go to daycare pickup. I literally, the first time I went in, I was like, I don't want to look at anyone. And I just kind of was like, oh, hi. Hope there's no other mums here that have seen my bum. My God, I hope they don't listen to this. Then they're going to know that I stood there with no pants on his 5th birthday party. Oh, no.
Sexy, Monica Joe.
They were like, I wondered why she was standing so quiet in the corner. I'm like, I just stood there with no pants on.
So funny because I'm sure there's some people that's probably like exhilarated, got a thrill, and I can just imagine you stood there like, I've got no fucking knickers on. I've got no knickers on. What if I get run over on the way home? I've got no pants on.
Yeah, I wasn't enjoying it. Anyway, there we go. Sin.
I can love that.
What's some sins that you have had? Have we had any written in?
Yes, well, I've heard it straight from the sinner's mouth, and I must say, I was howling, we were howling, and I hope I can just retell it with justice. As always, there is absolutely no judgment. This is your space for raw, unfiltered expression, a place of safety and connection. All parts are welcome here, so set yourself free and just have a giggle. Have a giggle at yourself. It's fine. It's fine. There's no bad parts. But I was chatting to someone about the podcast and just explaining our new feature about sins. And their eyes lit up. I was just like, I actually have a sin to tell you. Do you mind? And I was like, of course not. No, go. Got my pen and paper. Like, yes, I'm listening intently. Please do tell. And they were probably in their 20s, I would say. So yeah, like late 20s, out with their friends, their younger cousin, I believe, and they're desperate for a wee. They've obviously been venturing, playing out, and I think that must have been quite away from home, and it was a case of like, I'm going to wee myself. Like, I need to go. Is there any toilets? Is there any toilet? No. And the younger cousin just said, oh, well, it's okay. Let's just hide behind here. Like, it must have been a bush, whatever. Hid behind there. And the younger one starts going first and like pulls her pants right down and starts doing a wee. And the friend's kind of like, I still don't know if this is okay. And she's like, no, come on, quick. Like, I'm already weeing. Like, you've got to come, like, do it quickly. So she's like, oh shit, if she's doing it, fuck it, I'm going to have a piss because I am going to wee my pants and then everyone's going to know, you know? So, and she was obviously late 20s, didn't want people to know a grown woman couldn't hold her bladder. Fair enough. So she pulls her cats and she's joining, having a wee. And they both must be having a little giggle like, oh my God, I can't believe we're doing this. And they just hear like steps. You're right there, sis, you're right there, you're having fun. Just this booming voice behind them. And they're like, oh, fuck. And one of them turns around. She's still pissing. They're two police officers, Joanna. Two police officers behind them going, you all right there, lasses? You were busy there tonight? And she's going, oh, it wasn't me. It was her. She told me to do it. Oh, my God. And just flapped. And like, I think they just ran like fuck. Still pissing, pants down ankles. Absolute calamity. So that was their sin. They'd A, pissed in public, B, got caught, and then wanted to tell me all about it to share with you lovely listeners. So if you ever need a bush piss, just survey the area. There's no judgment. I will confess a sin. I pissed on a cliff path with the dog, not on her. I don't mean that. I mean, she was looking out for me as safety. And I was essentially pissing off a cliff with my arse out, not forgetting that there's a cliff path down below. So I'm not sure if anyone actually saw my ass or me pissing. So you're not alone. Don't know if that's actually a criminal offence. For the purposes of the camera, hypothetically, I did a bush piss. Hypothetically, may have, may not have.
I think everyone has at some point. Yeah. Oh, wow. I quite enjoyed those sins this week. Well, not my own one, but that one was quite good.
It's just very pea bottom related, wasn't it, this week?
It was.
They're just getting bolder and wilder, and that's what I love. It's not just, you know, at first we weren't sure what kind of sins we'd get sent in, and we were thinking, you know, is it just going to be like, oh, I ate my husband's chocolate bar, you know, things like that. But I'm actually really surprised at the unhingedness that's we've received.
No, they're coming in thick and fast. And we like it. Yeah, if you've got any sins, please do email them into us. Send us a DM on Instagram and we will keep them anonymous. We promise. But yeah, if you would like to set your soul free, please send them in and we will read them out next time. But for today, that is the end of our episode. Thank you, Megan. I think that was another great listen.
Thank you so much, Joanna. As always, it's been lovely to chat with you. And yeah, super excited for the next episode.